You're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. And this is going to be different than every video I've ever done. I'm totally exhausted. I'm in Hong Kong right now. I don't even know what time is it right now. It's not even that late. It's 9:10. I'm still on jet lag. And I'm going to tell you something that has to do with moons, stars, suns, a bunch of weird crap, and companies that I own. And once you understand this and you learn it, it's going to change your life. Where do I start? We just experienced a black moon. We're about to have a blood moon, and humans are acting different. Now, I'm about to I'm going to be all over the world in the next, I don't know, 6 weeks of my life because I have 3 companies, one going public in the next few weeks, 3 releasing tokens, and I'm consulting. I'm a KOL for a handful of other blockchain companies. And a handful of years ago, when I started this channel, I said there's going to be a lot of things about the ninja that you didn't know that are going to come out in public. Some things that I can't fight because of investments I made a long time ago. And the way I live my life is different than a lot of people. And well, let me just start here. Human emotion is at a very interesting point right now, this point of the year. When we go into the fall, that is typically when economies start to crumble, right? There's always a fall in the fall, whether that be the very obvious stock market correction or a crash, right? I view a crash as a stock market falling 15% or greater. Type 1 if you agree with that. Type 2 if you're like, no, a crash is like it goes away to nothing. But in order to be very successful in life, you have to understand human emotion and human behavior in a way that most people don't understand. And most business owners do not understand. I know it sounds crazy. As a firefighter, I understood when we had a full moon, people went nuts. But it's because the gravitational pull on our body because of the amount of water we have. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And this is what affects stock markets, crypto markets, housing markets, and they all go from macro to micro cycles. Um, this is one of those times in life where people are not spending a lot, they're a little confused. Um, and this has a waning effect or definitely an economic effect on companies, and they don't understand that. Let me ask you this: type yes or no if you think that people are sort of losing their minds in the last few weeks. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of social media influencers that are saying there's some big crash coming, either in the stock market or the crypto markets in September. Type yes or no if you understand that, or you've heard these theories. The sad thing is, these become self-fulfilling prophecies if enough people understand it or hear these prophecies and they buy into this. Because what happens is, and I've just recently seen it in the Bitcoin and crypto markets, where people have been emailing us and saying, "Hey, we're going to cash because there's a stock market crash coming or a crypto crash." We go, "Well, wait a minute, hold on. You're selling your positions. Are you selling at a loss or a gain?" And a lot of them are selling at a loss because of when they bought, and they're losing. You know, a lot of wealthy people say you only lose when you only lose if you sell at a loss. It sounds funny. It sounds stupid because it's so simple, but most people do not understand how loss. If you're down and you bought something based off of fundamentals, you go buy more when it's down. Today, I took a position in an entire crypto network. I own over 10% of the entire network. I had a very wealthy person. Um, Shoot, he made his first $1 billion in 1990. He came to me a couple days ago and he said, "Travis, you're one of the only people that think in market cap. You're one of the only people that think about owning an entire network or a percentage of a company. That's rare. And the people that you're talking to online don't think like that." And my answer to him was, "I want people to think like that. I want people to become rich. That's how you become wealthy." He said, "Well, that's the problem. They don't think like that." And right now, what's happening is you've got a lot of social media creators. They're 100% fake. Shoot, I mean, I get heat all the time, and I could care less about the haters. They sit there and they say, I'm a pumping number and all this stuff. They have no idea. But it's because they're weak-minded people. And there are times to buy, there are times to sell, but the problem is most people have those two times screwed up. And they don't understand that what we're experiencing right now worldwide is a turmoil based off of a lunar cycle. Now, that in and of itself sounds crazy. Type 100 if that sounds crazy. But let me challenge you. If you're going to type 100, and I'm talking about lunar cycles and its effects on human beings' minds and their bodies and their decision making process, take a second to just think before you turn off the phone or say something out loud and contemplate this. Again, I'm going to repeat this. The tides of the ocean are pulled back from the beaches and they're forced into the beaches by a gravitational pull from the moon. Now, we've all heard that full moons cause people to go crazy. Our bodies are made mostly of water. I want to simply get you to understand one of the most basic fundamentals of physics and how those fundamentals play into equity markets, real estate markets, forex markets. Everybody in the world is watching the president fight with the Federal Reserve, which is a private central bank, over lowering interest rates because the president understands human behavior in a way that most people do not understand. I get it. People want cheaper money. It's like a drug. The problem is, what happens when you give somebody that's addicted to drugs access to a room with a bunch of cocaine sitting in the middle of the room, free for the taking? What happens? They run to that table and they snort as much as they can. That's the equivalent of what is about to happen with lowered interest rates. Human beings want to look rich, act rich, but guess what? They're not rich. And lowered interest rates is what leads them to that table, big old pile of financial coke. Am I making, yes or no? Am I making sense to you guys right now? What that's going to do is that's going to lead, and we already have high inflation. As a matter of fact, I'm watching it right now. The ticker on CNBC is people are awaiting this inflation data, and they're afraid that it's going to be higher. And you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, and thank you to everyone that's been hitting the subscribe button because they've been unsubscribed and stuff. It is a thing. There's no conspiracy theory there. It's a thing. You know that I've been calling for higher inflation. And lowering of interest rates is going to fuel a bunch of people that are not good with money to just rapidly borrow, and it's going to cause a mini bout of hyperinflation. Now, how do you use this to make money? Because that's what my channel is all about. I want to make you rich by thinking differently than most people. Well, you buy inflation hedges, things that go up because they have limited supply. Okay, this is the macroeconomics lesson right now. There's only so much gold in the world, right? It takes a certain amount of human energy or output to go and get it, right? It takes a certain amount of diesel in a tractor to go dig it out of the ground. It takes a certain amount of human labor to be able to separate it from the earth, right? Once it's out of the ground. And then it takes a certain amount of money and energy to refine it and make it into like a gold coin or gold bar. So that brings gold its value because the amount of human effort and energy it takes to produce it. It's the same thing with Bitcoin, right? It takes a certain amount of energy and output to produce it. So those become inflation hedges. Oil, right? It takes energy and output and a physical mental capacity to go get it out of the ground and then to use it, right? These things are inflation hedges, right? Land, to a certain extent, becomes an inflation hedge as well. So During rapid speculation, when interest rates drop and borrowing expands, we see, sure, the stock market goes up and things like that, bond rates go down, and people are chasing yield. But what happens is if you invest in the right things, then what happens as the backside of the economy falls off the cliff because people don't care about those things any longer or they can't afford them. Then what you do is you take your inflation hedges and you swap those into the things that people used to care about, but they don't. And when you do that, you become wealthy. But you have to know how to go in and out of those cycles, just like Warren Buffett did. A lot of people made fun on in Wall Street of Warren Buffett in 2005 and 2006 when he was buying transportation stocks because transportation stocks were falling off of a cliff because the economy wasn't coming to a grinding halt. The economy never, ever, ever comes to a grinding halt. There are a lot of people on YouTube or X or Instagram that would like to tell you that it does, that there's economic crashes. The economy always moves, but it either moves at a high rate of speed or it slows down. It keeps moving, but it's just moving slower. When it moves slower and the velocity of money slows down and slows down, slows down, we have recessions or depressions, but there's still money to be made. My great grandfather is an example. Became a multimillionaire during the Great Depression because he still owned his original farm and certain things like that. And he had a little bit left over. So he was buying his neighbors' farms from the bank and then employing his neighbors under a new company, right? So a lot of these people on social media have no clue what they're doing. That's why I make videos in my car. It's why I make videos with cardboard boxes. Technically, I'm just mocking the people that look important, but they really aren't. Once you understand these fundamentals, anyone can become wealthy. You just have to understand the fundamental and go against the flow. So I hope this is making sense to you. I know this is sounding weird, but we're in a weird time, so it deserves a weird kind of video based off of lunar cycles and some irrational exuberance based off of the Trumps running the country right now, and that is irrational. Okay, this is exciting. Um, you have an opportunity to level up, but it's going to come at a cost. A lot of you are about to lose your friends because your friends don't agree with you. Your friends don't understand you. It's because you're paying attention to things that most people don't understand. And that's going to, technically, if you keep going, cause you to become an elitist. You'll become wealthy. I'm living proof of that. That's why we all sort of hang out. If you're part of Ninja Nation, do me a favor, just type N down below. Ninja Nation, like I've said before, is a bunch of people that are prepared, not scared. But you have to be prepared to walk away from the friends and family you grew up with in order to find a new group of amazing people around the world that understand. I even met a handful of people here in, uh, I'm not in Tokyo. Where am I right now? Hong Kong. That understand this is that being different should be embraced. Everybody talks about diversity. Man, they don't know diversity if it fell out of the sky, landed in their lap, and started to wiggle. Diversity is actually a very small group of people. There's so many people trying to be diverse and talking about diversity. Really, true diversity is the one fish swimming upstream against a bunch of Yahoo fish that are just rolling down the hill. Because it's the easy way. That's the way that feels safe. Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't get where I was by feeling safe and going along with the norm or agreeing with my friends, my family, even my spouse at times. It's because I knew what was right and I knew what had to be done to become a success. So I'll tell you what, over the next few weeks, you're going to see a lot of weird things happening based off of lunar cycles. Just smile and understand if you can see people acting weird, you can see some weird things happening in this earth over the next 3 to 4 weeks. just know you're in a good spot because you actually see them happening when most of the people you know don't understand them. Stay the course. Keep investing in things that most people would laugh at. I'm used to being laughed at. And you know what's funny? My bank account keeps growing. And I know a lot of yours are too. And we can't take everyone with us. But when they're all starving, losing their jobs, we can help them out. Hope you got something out of this really weird message. I have gotten probably 7 hours of sleep in the last 72 hours. I am exhausted, but I just had a weird feeling based off of two business meetings I just walked out of. I wanted to share this with you. If it made sense to you, type 100. If it didn't make sense to you, I don't know what to tell you. I got nothing for you. The Economic Ninja is going to bed. Ninja's out.